The reason I will win the Flock League this year is I am grinding. I am doing more fantasy football drafts than anybody else in my league. And we are going to continue to do that tonight. We are going to hop in Best Ball Mania. And it looks like Underdog put out a pretty big update with how things look, at least visually. I don't know if I'm a big fan of this. But regardless, there are a couple spots left in this draft if any of y'all want to get in here. And of course, if you are ever wanting to get into drafts with us, but you don't make it out early enough to the streams, make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button, and YouTube will actually tell you when we go live. Now, if you don't want YouTube messaging you, then don't hit that bell. But if you want that, then bell up. And thank you for everybody coming out to these streams with us. And yeah, I'm not losing my mind, right? This is completely different than how Underdog used to look. Let me know what y'all are thinking of the Underdog update. This is new today, right? There's we got Slasher O says he loves the update. Dylan says he kind of likes it. King Group says, pro tip, you need the YouTube app installed on your phone for the notifications to be of any use in my experience. Realistically, who the hell does not have YouTube installed in their phone? I have YouTube installed in my brain. But it looks like people are split. Looks like some people absolutely love it. Some people absolutely hate it. Some people are neutral on it. I think the draft board probably looks better. The lobby, I don't think so, but I don't know. We are having a draft against Vinny. We are having a draft against Kale. So for the love of God, again, I want to reiterate to everybody that's watching this, if you're not already on Underdog, get on the damn app so I don't have to draft against the two toughest people over and over and over and over and over and over again. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to hang out with us. Puka Nacua off the board at pick 6. I'm assuming Kale's going to get Gibbs at 7. So should be pretty happy about that. Henry says we had a big dog half full 30 minutes ago, but everybody bailed. Ooh, interesting. Savage says Mason make a video on ESPN, good value picks. Does ESPN even have ADP right now? Like nobody's doing ESPN drafts, so it's hard for me to make like an ESPN value pick when we have no idea where those guys are going to go. Looks like everything's different here. Even when you go to select a player, this stuff has changed. We're going to take Nico Collins at 10. Nico's been the big time riser. Nico used to almost always go at like pick 12 or pick 13, but it looks like he's officially jumped like St. Brown, Brian Thomas and ADP. And it looks like there's a realistic shot we get Brian Thomas on the way back around at pick 15, where that would just simply never happen with Nico Collins. So we're going to take Nico. Obviously, I personally think, I've said this before, that there are 14 first round picks in fantasy football drafts this year. And Amon-Ra St. Brown goes at 12. Brian Thomas goes at 13. I think Nico's one of them. And I think that if we want to give ourselves a realistic shot at getting 2 of them, we should probably go Nico at 10, because Genty, St. Brown, Brian Thomas, and then A-Chance, the other guy I want. A-Chance, the other player that I view as a round 1 pick. He goes at freaking 14. So I'm going to mix things up. I'm going to get a little weird here. I think we're going to reach on Bowers. Based off the way the ADP lines up, there are going to be very few Nico, Brock Bowers teams. So we'll take him. It's not like anybody's ever going to be able to get Nico and Bowers like rounds 2 and 3, right? So unique build, something we're not doing super, super often. And would it be the most surprising thing in the world if Brock Bowers outscores Drake London? Like realistically, let me pull this up on the site and see what this looked like previously. Sorry, let me pull up the site here. And David says, when will the redraft rankings drop on the Flock website? The redraft rankings are already out. If you don't know how to look at the redraft rankings, here's just a little thing. Go to the rankings page. It's defaulted to Dynasty, but if you just hit the format thing, you can hit 2025 rankings. And then if you want to see mine, you hit sort by expert, and then you go and hit Mason Dodd right there. But let me pull up what we have with Bowers versus London last season. Like last season, Bowers were looking at 15.5 points per game, 9 targets a game, 2.33 yards per route run. If we're going to compare this to the other wide receivers that go in this range, London last year is 16.5 points per game. A.J. Brown was the other player that we could have taken here. A.J. Brown, 16.7 points per game. Ladd McConkey was the other rookie we could have taken there at receiver. And Ladd, 15.1. So realistically, with Bowers going into year 2 with a quarterback upgrade, it's in the range of outcomes for Brock Bowers to outscore all the other wide receivers that go after him here. So I think we can reach. I think we don't sacrifice too much upside. And we can hopefully have a little bit more of a unique build than just going like Nico and Derrick Henry. Okay. But let me move this over. Ken says, I have to agree with you, Mason, on something you mentioned a few times. Drafting for pick 6 seems almost to always be the best spot. Yeah, pick 6 in this one, you could have had Gibbs, then like Ladd, then Lamar. I don't love the Puka, Taylor, Terry start, but again, this should probably be a pretty unique build as well. Kel decides to go Lamar. I, in general, like the Lamar round 3 pick. My only hesitation is if you have A.J. Brown at pick 18, I think there's a chance that you get Jalen Hurts like at pick 55. So I don't know if I would have jumped the gun there for Lamar, but I mean, completely understand him doing it. And we're going to take Garrett Wilson. I'm underweight Garrett Wilson in general, but there shouldn't be too many teams that get Garrett Wilson this late at 34. And I'm completely fine adding another wide receiver, knowing that we went Bowers in round 2. And I thought that this team was on auto draft previously after they took it all the way down to the last second for Genty. I was hoping they were going to auto Henry, so we got Achane instead of Bowers, but it is what it is. Naeem says, Mason, has Ladd hit his ceiling? I'm hearing he will regress. Why would he possibly regress? Can someone let me know? Maybe y'all know something I don't. What's the thought process on like what realistically would cause a Ladd regression? Ooh, let's see. John says, see y'all there August 17th. Bring your favorite NFL jersey in a Speedo. John, you pull up to the meetup in a Speedo. I will pull up as well. We're going to take Kiran Williams in round 4. The Kiran Williams value is an absolute no-brainer in my mind. Like something that's hilarious to see is like, let's pull up Kiran Williams over the past 2 years in comparison to any other running back you want to look at. Let's look at the tier 1 of backs, and then let's look at Kiran Williams. This is Barkley, Bijan, Gibbs, Kiran. Now, would I ever tell you to take Kiran ahead of these other workhorses? Of course not. But if we look at 2023 and 2024, you have Kiran Williams specifically giving you 87% of the snaps in comparison to Barkley at 78%, Bijan 72%, Jahmyr Gibbs at 56%. You're not going to find another running back over the past 2 years that has played a higher percentage of his team's overall snaps than Kiran Williams. Over the past 2 years, he's averaged 18.8 fantasy points per game and has been the RB4. He's on his rookie contract, and we just drafted this dude in the 4th round. Immaculate. Love it. And honestly, I absolutely love our team here. And of course, I like a lot of our teams because we are drafting every single day. That's why I think I'm going to win the Flock League. That's why I think I will have the best draft. Now, of course, if we have somebody making a ridiculous trade, build a super team, maybe it'll be tougher. But I think I will have the best draft because I'm grinding every single day. And if you want to have the best draft in your league, I would say probably the best thing you can do is get in some practice on Underdog. If you're new to Underdog, I would not do the $25 drafts. I would focus in on getting in the lower buy-ins, the $3, the $5. Obviously, if you've been on Underdog for a while, you can hop on Best Ball Mania. This is the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. I can't even pull up the details here because I don't know where the little information tab is. Looks like they forgot that with the update, or maybe they moved it elsewhere. But on this tournament, it's a $25 buy-in and a $15 million prize pool, $2 million to first place. And you better believe your boy's winning that $2 million this year. And if you wanted to get in a draft with us, I always leave the link to all the drafts in the description, comment section, live chat, where it says draft with us here. And if you use code FLOCK, you're good. All my 2025 fantasy football rankings are 2025 fantasy football draft guide cheat sheets and a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. You can also scan the QR code right there. You do need to be in one of these states if you wanted to draft on Underdog, though. So you can see the map here. They're in all the big states. Now, let's move this over. Kenneth Walker off at 56. I will just honestly play a boring and I'll take Mixon. Like, we could use some more running back points. We have Nico Collins, so we're already in on this Houston Texans offense. I'm not a massive Rome guy, not a massive Juwan Jennings guy. Burrow doesn't do anything for us here. So Mixon at 58 seems like whatever. What did this Eagles team do at quarterback? They took Daniels. Interesting to see the Daniels selection with no Terry there. I wonder if they end up reaching on Deebo Samuel, because the issue is Deebo goes on the other end of the draft board. So they don't reach on Deebo, and they instead go RJ Harvey and Trevion Henderson. So they're essentially saying they're fine taking Daniels with no Terry, with no Deebo. Okay, Juwan Jennings off the board. We're going to go ahead. We'll take Olave. Olave's yards per route run looks great over the past 3 years. Obviously, he was injured last season. The main issue with Olave is the same issue with the other wide receiver you would take in this range. It's like Olave, pretty damn good talent. Jerry Jeudy, pretty damn good talent. Both of them are in the worst offenses in the NFL. So I'm never going to be able to come out here and tell you like, oh, Olave is the best pick on the board. Jerry Jeudy's the best pick on the board, even though I do think like Chris Olave versus Juwan Jennings as a talent. I think Chris Olave may have more talent in his left pinky toe than Juwan Jennings has in his entire body. Now, for fantasy football purposes, Juwan Jennings is one of the best offenses in the league, and Chris Olave is Tyler Shuck as his starting quarterback. So I'm not going to have some like massive strong take here on Olave, but I think he's a fine pick as a wide receiver 3. And after we go Mixon at 58, we simply just need another wide receiver. Enter your name says Kyron goes much higher on ESPN. Who's drafting on ESPN right now? Like realistically, if y'all are doing mock drafts on ESPN, we need to go ahead and get the mock drafts out on the site already. So we'll get the 2025 mock draft stuff out on the site for y'all to do for free. If y'all want, right now we only have the dynasty lobbies, but we'll get those 2025 drafts out. Okay. Caleb Johnson off 73. Yeah, Deebo Samuel goes 72. That's what I was discussing previously with that team at like 36, taking Daniels. It's like if you do want that Daniels pairing, just knowing where Deebo goes on the board, you're not really ever going to get Deebo at 84. And since you don't have Terry, obviously with Daniels, you have the rushing upside where you don't necessarily need the stack, right? You have Vinny at pick 4. I see y'all hyping up his team in the chat. Has Barkley Judkins at running back. Receiver Tyreek Harrison, Devonta Smith. Quarterback Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Vinny has a very interesting team. Okay, this is psyching me out. I don't know if I'm tired. I'm very tired right now. Or it's the new design on Underdog, but do y'all see all these little like diamonds where the 4 picks go in corner? Feels like I'm looking at an like, what's it called? An optical illusion is what it feels like staring at this. We'll get a running back on the way back around, so we can just take Shakir here at 82 again. I personally think the passing volume may be better in Buffalo. This year, I think you may see this team skew a little more pass happy inside the red zone and not lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns by like 4 or 5. Okay. Yeah, we got a couple people saying it's kaleidoscope. Yeah, if y'all are seeing what I'm seeing. Hopefully I'm just tired. Well, yeah, because if I have to look at a kaleidoscope every day until the season starts, that may be tough. Egbuka off at 85. So we're going to get one of these running backs, whether it's Pollard, Aaron Jones on the way back. So I feel a lot better about that Shakir selection. Like if we would have seen Pollard, Jones, Brian Robinson all run with these next 3 picks, would have been a little bit tougher, but we will get some projectable volume, which we already have the projectable volume with Kyron and Mixon. I think you can just say that if anything, the issue that our team has is upside of the running back position. Our next pick is going to be 106. Looking at the players that we're going to be looking at here, the wide receivers are going to be absolute dookie. But Aaron Jones, starting running back in Minnesota behind an improved offensive line. I feel like I just don't like having it's similar to like a BBM draft we did yesterday. Where it's like, yeah, we have a lot of projectable volume at running back, but not a ton of like upside, and at least how you would think about it traditionally. But here, wide receiver, we have Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Khalil Shakir. Tight end, we have Brock Bowers. Running back, we have Kyron Mixon, Aaron Jones. So we're elite at tight end, we're okay at wide receiver, and we're okay at running back. Now, a big thing is, are we going to be able to find quarterbacks later? Obviously, CJ Stroud's in play when we have Nico and Mixon. Geno's in play when we have Bowers. Fields is in play when we have Wilson. But Shakir, Josh Allen's already off the board. And Chris Olave, no part of me ever wants to draft Tyler Shuck. Okay. Reed says this is why I don't take Bowers in the second. Again, like the alternative was just go with the boring play of London. Wanted to mix things up. And I don't think there'll be a lot of Nico Bowers teams, because especially if you remember, like when Bowers would go kind of in the middle of the second to the beginning of the second, also Nico Collins was like exclusively going at the 1-2 turn. Like Nico was never going at pick like 9-10. So I think if you actually look at the overlap of Nico Bowers teams, not going to be a ton. John says Mastiffs. Are there, did Underdog drop the Mastiff tournament? Are there $1,000 drafts out now? If y'all remember, back in the day, whenever I won the big dog, the buy-in was only $250. So Underdog had the massive tournaments out last year that were $1,000 buy-ins. Yeah, I don't see massive tournaments out right now. Fields goes 102. Sucks for us. I was hoping that we were going to be able to get Fields with Wilson, but it is what it is. Keon Coleman goes 103. Looking at Purdy, we have no Niners, so we're probably not going to be able to take him here. Tight ends, not super interesting for me with Andrews and Evan Ingram when we have Bowers. Shaheed 104. We could have gone Shaheed, paired him up with Olave, and gone what if the passing volume is better than people are expecting in New Orleans. We'll take Tracy here, 106. Another possibility we could have had is, like, if Caleb would have fallen one more pick, we could have gone Caleb and then Luther Burden. Scatterby goes 108. If we take another running back here, obviously we're done at running back. I wouldn't advocate for drafting your 5th running back before your 5th receiver, though. Okay. Luther Burden goes 109. Evan Ingram off 110. Bateman and Andrews don't really move the needle for me. I think we go Najee, as gross as it is. Dak, May, Goff, none of them do anything. We'll go Najee and we'll call it a day at running back. Which is going to be awkward. Like, there's no way we can ever take another running back after this. Like, we're going to be up again at pick 130. So, like, the running back range there will be like Tajay Spears, Byshell Tootin, Ray Davis. But, like, even if we get Charbonnet, Ramondre, Dobbins falling to us, we simply can't take him. Like, we have Kyron, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Tracy, and Najee. Cheeky Opson, always happy to see you. Says, when and where is the meetup? Is it the 17th? Didn't write it down. Yes, the meetup will be the 17th. I sent out a ton of emails this past weekend to places, because if y'all remember last year, we got the bar to give everybody half off food and drink. I'm going to try to do the same thing this year. So I sent like 20 emails to places in Austin that I'm like, this place should have good parking and work for us. I need to send like a bunch of people got back to me. I need to send like the follow up, essentially going like, hey, we will promote you on YouTube. In return, can you give everybody a half off food and drink? And can you waive whatever the rental fee is? Because 90% of places will say like, hell no, you owe us the $2,000 for renting it out or whatever. But we only need one to say yes. So hopefully, and I actually have not reached out to Chili's, which there is a specific famous Chili's in Austin that I will reach out to and see if we can rent that out, which would be funny. Steve says, Mason, ever consider American Ninja Warrior? I am not nearly athletic enough for American. I would embarrass myself. I'd be a good fit for Wipeout, but American Ninja Warrior, probably not so much. Okay, let's see what we can do with our next few picks. We are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And that rock is a boulder that continues to roll in our direction and continues to crush us. Our team's bad, and the outs for it to turn good are slim to none. Now, we'll see if we can pull a rabbit out of a hat and save this thing. But at the moment, it's not looking super likely. Christian Kirk. Mailman says, Mason, who will get second place in the Flock League? Same person who got second place last year, the editor of our channel, Thomas, because he watches all the videos we record clearly, and he can soak up all that valuable information. Okay, so here's what a smart person would do. A smart person would just take Kyle Williams or Marvin Mims going, hey, we're the Nico Collins team. We're going to get CJ Stroud on the way back around. Now, based off how things have trended in these live streams, I don't trust that for a single second. So I'm just going to take CJ Stroud, pair him up with Nico. Michael Penix does really nothing for us here. Kyle Williams, Marvin Mims, both these options are already off. Both their quarterbacks are already off the board. I'll take Kyle Williams. I think that Quentin Johnston should be going ahead of him. I have Quentin Johnston higher than him in my rankings. But when Kyle Williams is an ADP of 129, Quentin Johnston at 146, I'm going to do a bunch of these drafts. There'll be other drafts where I can get the big Q later. And at the same time, I already have the big Q in a ridiculous amount of these drafts. He is my most drafted player, and I have barely taken Kyle Williams. Barely. Okay. Will says, have you ever had a draft where you think it's terrible and it does okay later on? Just to be completely honest with you, my friend, I draft so many of these teams that during the season with my underdog drafts, like obviously I'm sure that y'all are different, right? If y'all log on and y'all do like 5 practice underdog drafts before the season starts, and then you'll probably check every single week seeing how they're doing. But for me, especially because during the season, and I'm not saying like, oh, boo-hoo, look at me or blah, 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 but it's just the fact of the matter. I am working 7 days a week at the very, very minimum, 13 hours a day. So like, I have no time to check my underdog teams during the year. So the time that I actually start logging on, seeing how our underdog teams are doing, is like once the fantasy football playoffs are coming around, and I'm like, ooh, I can see how many teams I'm advancing. And then once we're in the fantasy football playoffs, I'm a lot less busy. Trade deadlines have already passed for redraft leagues. My live streams are a lot shorter. So then I'm looking at all my teams saying like, oh, is this one advancing? Is this one advancing? Blah, blah, blah. But since I don't check in on my teams until so late after the draft, I don't remember at all what I thought of that team when I drafted it. Like, I am sure that there are a lot of teams that I draft that I go, oh, that team's absolute garbage, and it turns out to be okay. I'd be surprised if that wasn't the case. But I just don't look at the teams enough to know. Marvin Mims fallen like a rock here. ADP 131. Y'all know we've called Marvin Mims one of the worst picks on the board. Stand by. Probably think he is. And I'm probably not even going to take him here. I'm probably going to go Leggett, even though he is the clear ADP faller. And so I wouldn't fault anybody for taking Marvin Mims at this point. Well, you're making fun of people taking him at his previous cost. Here, this is a completely fine range if you want to take him. Tyler Algier. Lee G says, do you have another job outside of fantasy football? Yes, I do. I'm actually a dancer at the Pink Pony Club, my friend. Okay. Marvin Mims finally off the board, pick 157. I think it's great value for Mims. Again, not faulting anybody for taking Marvin Mims there. And the reason we took Leggett in the last round is specifically so we can take Bryce Young in this one. So we'll go with Bryce as our second quarterback. And now we have a quarterback. CJ Stroud stacked up with Nico. Mixon's not a big pass catcher, but we also have Mixon. We have Bryce Young stacked up with Xavier Leggett. Funny enough, I've actually interviewed both these quarterbacks at the NFL draft. We have the elite tight end with Bowers. Wide receiver, we have Nico, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Shakir, Kyle Williams, Xavier Leggett. And then at running back, we have Kyron, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Tyron Tracy, Najee Harris. Is it the best team ever? No. Is it the worst team ever? No. I think it has a shot to advance. I think it has a shot to make some noise. But Lube says, yes, I saw him there. He's 6'8". In my heels at the Pink Pony Club, I am 6'8". Dragon says, Mason, are you able to check your underdog scores and progress each week during the season? Yeah, you can. I was just explaining earlier that I typically don't. But if I only had if I was a normal person and I only drafted 5 underdog teams in off season, I probably would check on them during the year. But like the thing is, if I'm going to draft 400 underdog teams this year, it's almost going to be impossible for me to check in. What I probably will check in on is I need to start doing more slow drafts so I can actually do this. But I'm planning on maxing out the eliminator. And if I max out the eliminator, I'll probably check in on those every week. Just because I can see like, oh, I had 150 teams. Now I have 80. Now I have 40. Now I have 30. That should be something that's pretty easy to check in on. Okay. John says you should have the meetup at the Pink Pony Club. The thing is, I told them I stopped doing YouTube because they require so much time and dedication and just my physical and mental energy and spiritual energy that they told me they were going to cut back my they were going to put me on the day shift if I kept on doing YouTube. So I told them I'd quit YouTube a while back. And if we did the meetup there, they would clearly know I was lying. Great for us to see Geno Smith go off to a team with no Raiders there at 5. Not only do they have no Raiders, but Thornton's already off the board as well. So they just take a pure unstacked Geno Smith when we kind of needed that third QB. Okay. So let's pull this down. We are still not looking at any running backs. Clearly running backs are off the board. It is something we cannot even begin to think about. We are going to take Aaron Rodgers as our third quarterback. With Rodgers, the benefit is there are a few late round receivers we can take. We can take Calvin Austin. We can take Roman Wilson. Whereas if we're looking at like Sam Darnold, the optionality that we have with the Seattle Seahawks later on, slim to none. Wolf Chomp says, what's your stage name? I think Flock Fantasy is a good stage name, if you ask me. That's how I came up with the name of the channel. I was dancing at the Pink Pony Club well before I was streaming on YouTube. I'll tell you that much. Okay, so I think we'll probably reach on Calvin Austin here just to make sure we get him. Like, is he that much worse of a pick than Mason Taylor? ADP 193. Next time we'll be on the clocks 202. I'm not going to play around. Who cares? Let's just get Calvin Austin. The only way this team is any good whatsoever is if Bowers smashes. So the second tight end, in theory, shouldn't matter much. Ooh, this is a great question. The Review Lab says, hey, how much do you make a year after tax? So I talked about this in the other live stream where people were asking if I was going to go to the NFL next year. And I was saying that I was going to have to take a pay decrease if I was going to do that. And that, like, sure, maybe I'll do it for the love of the game. But before taxes last year, I think I made about 16.8 million. And I don't pay taxes. So after taxes, it was also 16.8. Actually, the government pays me. So I think after taxes, it was probably closer to 22. Okay. Let's see. Jalen Knoll off the board at pick 190. Hopkins goes 191. Jackson, yeah, I just think that Rodgers is so much better of a pick than like Jackson Dart that I feel like we just simply have to get Rodgers. I think he's so much better of a pick than like Tyler Shuck as well. If you really wanted to get cute with it, what you could do is we could have taken like Alec Pierce and then Anthony Richardson and gone, what if Anthony Richardson ends up starting and just based off rushing upside, obviously he has the ability to go nuclear. Whereas maybe Rodgers doesn't have that type of upside. But Rodgers presumably should start all 17 weeks. And I think we should be able to get some usable weeks out of Rodgers. Like, let me pull up him on the site real quick. If we're looking at Rodgers last season, did we get usable weeks? He gave you a week against Jacksonville where he dropped 30. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 separate weeks where he scored at least 20 fantasy points. A team there at 6 goes Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson on the same squad. Okay. We'll take Dalton Schultz here. Again, we're kind of built around that Texans onslaught now of Nico, Schultz, Mixon, and Stroud. And then we're just going to have to take an 8th wide receiver. Because, I mean, our wide receiver room's decent at the top end. We have Nico, Garrett Wilson. Then we have like Olave, Shakir, Kyle Williams, Leggett, Calvin Austin. So the very bottom end is kind of crap. So getting a few names in here wouldn't be the worst thing. And then in terms of the players we want to be taking here at the bottom, y'all probably know who I typically mix in. F it. I think we'll probably do it again. We'll just take the guy we always take. We'll take Jalen Tolbert. Decent team. I don't think it's special. What would have made this team special, or at least exciting, is if we would have had Justin Fields making it to us instead of Tyron Tracy. But Fields went here. What would have made it also pretty decent is if we would have had Geno Smith making it to us instead of Aaron Rodgers. But it is what it is. Fine team, not the best team. But I think it's a well-balanced squad. That probably projects well for the regular season, and the overall issue would be the final 3 weeks upside. Well, let's hop in another BBM. And we have 70 Best Ball Mania drafts left, which we have, like 60 days till the season starts? So I have plenty of time. And, okay, are we going to get pick 11 or pick 12? Because that will put us in a much better... Okay, thank God. We get pick 11. I don't. Oh, okay, but we do have to draft next to Antler Ice. We do have to draft next to Kale. We have to draft next to Dr. Pibb, Vinny. We have to draft with the real Vinny, the Coca-Cola, and then we got Dr. Pibb. Or RC. We'll go Coca-Cola. Is this Vinny? RC Cola is this Vinny? And let me know if anybody else made it in this draft or if it's just the usuals. But let's see. Laceless Shoe in this draft with us at 4. Happy to have you, my friend. Isaiah in this draft with us at 7. And Nabella in here at 1. Vinny says that's Mr. Pibb, sir. That's funny. Okay. But yeah, pick 11 is exciting because, I mean, we can say it very clearly because I'm not worried about getting sniped because we're not going to get sniped when we have pick 14. But here are the round 1 picks in no particular order. All of these players in a normal year of fantasy football, I think you should be excited to take in round 1 of drafts. Chase, Jefferson, Bijan, Barkley, Lamb, Gibbs, Puka, CMC, Malik Neighbors, Nico, Genty, St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Devon Achane. And no matter what, we are going to get 2 of those. Now, I don't think everybody's going to agree with us that those are the top 14 players. I think some people would maybe throw Derrick Henry in there, which if you were smart, maybe you want to do that, but I'm not smart. So that's my personal rankings. Those are my personal values. So I'm excited when I'm at pick 14 because pick 15, like y'all saw in the previous draft, we just took Bowers instead of Derrick Henry. Okay, let's move this over. Nick is in here at pick 12. A says, did you ever get into Call of Duty, MW2, Black Ops 1, MW3, Black Ops 2? Yes, of course, my friend. Reed says, so Vinny having 2 teams in the same league isn't a problem. This isn't the same Vinny. Again, this is Coca-Cola Vinny, and this is RC Cola Vinny. I know it doesn't seem like Vinny's that popular of a name, but there are somehow 2 Vinnies that are always in this live stream. Antler Eyes, let's see what he decides to do. He goes Amon-Ra St. Brown, so we will take Malik Neighbors. And then we're assuming that the team at 12 probably takes 2 of these players, and we'll just grab whoever else, whoever makes it back to us at 14. Genty goes 12. Does he go running back, receiver? He goes running back. So we're going to go wide receiver. We'll get the 2 LSU teammates. We'll grab Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. It's funny that LSU has the OG teammate pair. You have the Odell Jarvis. Then you have the second version of Jefferson Chase. And now you have the third version of Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Absolute insanity. But I'm not going to complain. I'll be very, very happy to add these 2-year receivers to our squad. Sebshura says favorite Black Ops 2 Zombies map. So I have a hot take, and this is probably the incorrect take, and I'm not going to stand by it fully. Personal preference. But I don't like the new zombie maps. Here, let me pull up the zombies that we would always play. Stupid simple. But this is what we would do. And I had other friends that liked the newer maps. But I can't even pull up the OG. Oh, this is the OG one. This is the Black Ops zombie map that I liked. This is the one that I played a bunch. And that was really the only zombies one I liked. I would play the other one with my friends just because they wanted to. And I know there's not just one. There are a bunch of different ones. But it would almost be like too much for me. Okay, Allen goes 27. Interesting to see Vinny go with Allen there, having Higgins. Here's my take on it. Because obviously I've tried mixing in the elite quarterback early round 3 to get unique with it. I think I'm going to start doing it if I don't have Chase or if I don't have Higgins. Because there you can reach on Allen, you can reach on Lamar. And you don't have to worry about like potentially having to pass up on Burrow later. Because now Vinny's going to be in a spot where he may be forced to pass on Burrow if he gets the ability to take Burrow at 70. Okay, Marvin Harrison off at 31. Let's see. I know who we want here at 35. We'll see if we get him. Lemonade and Marx's. Man, I'm late. What the hell, YouTube? They're trying to silence you, King. They don't want people to know you're live. I'm not going to lie to you, my friend. I told YouTube not to notify you. I didn't want to have to draft against you. Obviously joking. We'll take JSN. We'll take the other young ascending wide receiver from a crazy good college. And there's a chance we get Kyron on the way back around because the other team went running back out the gate. So this may be a super exciting start. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that other team had to go wide receiver. So we're going to get another round 4 Kiran Williams selection. I already showed y'all Kiran Williams has been a true 3-down workhorse, which is funny because Kiran was such an outlier from a prospect. We had never seen a running back be that small and that slow at the NFL Combine and demonstrate this type of ceiling. But so we went from whiffing hard on Kiran coming into the NFL to the second he showed that he was a workhorse, I'm willing to throw away all priors. Like if you go over to the prospects page on flockfantasy.com, you'll see like the guys that Kiran historically comps to are like Dylan Johnson, Alexander Madison, Dwayne McBride, Isaac Rindo, Zamir White, Benny Snell, Jaden Blue, DJ Dallas, Kenny McIntosh, Raheem Sanders, Eric Ray, Eno Benjamin, Ito Smith, Bo Scarborough, Kalen Balazs, Keontae Ingram, Chris Rodriguez, DeAndre Washington. Like this is a long list of nobodies. Like maybe you throw Tyron Tracy on here, but the thing is with Tracy, he was a wide receiver in college, right? So he's going to look very weird in a prospect model. But yeah, so Kyron was a very weird prospect coming out, but frankly, it doesn't matter. We're so far removed from that. The dude has been the only workhorse running back in the NFL over the past 2 years, realistically. But let's move. I wish I could weigh more in on Call of Duty, but sadly I can't. I am very basic with my video game experience. Like I have like I'm like what gamers hate more than anything. I'm the person that grew up playing Call of Duty, 2K, MLB, Madden, and then Fortnite got big when I was in college, but whenever I'd go home, I'd play with my brothers. Like, just the most basic, boring video games what I played. And then now, obviously, Clash. And not going to lie to y'all, I was late to this live stream because my brother was leaving the house and he 1v1'd me. And yesterday he embarrassed me so bad that I couldn't back away from the challenge. And we did a triple draft. And of course he smoked my ass again. See if Antler Ice decides to go with Hunter or if he gives him to us. He goes Jennings. So we'll mix in Travis Hunter. Super low floor, but we have Brian Thomas. And how could we possibly turn $25 into $2 million? It's Travis Hunter plays 80+% of the offensive snaps. And we see this overall offense elevate. And obviously we grab Lawrence. That is a realistic path to win $2 million. Like I'm gonna screenshot this. This is a crazy start. Like I like this team. I'm tweeting this out. Let me screenshot this. Caption, how does this team not win 2 million? Or I'll just go. Call the realtor. I'm $2 million richer. And let's throw this in here. This is an exciting start. God. Let's pray to God I don't mess this up. Vinny does indeed end up going with Burrow, despite having Allen there. Vinny, I've done a couple high stakes drafts. How do you spell realtor? Let's make sure I didn't spell this wrong. I don't want to embarrass myself. I just have to copy and paste and make sure that copy and paste into Google. Okay, perfect. But I did a couple high stakes drafts. I think I'm in 2 $500 slow drafts where I took the Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts stack at the 4-5 turn, similar to what that team at 4 does. I love that team at 4. Checking that out right now. Oh my gosh, the team at 4's. Oh, that's a beautiful squad. And then I also went Joe Burrow at the 6-7 turn. But I do think like round 5, Jalen Hurts, and then Joe Burrow at the 6-7 turns, easier to see working out than like round 3 quarterback and round 6 QB. Okay. Lee says, tax guy about to hate you next year after this BVM. Oh, he will. Send him over that tax form. He's going, what the hell just happened? He's going to start charging. He's going to raise his rate. Okay, let's move this down. God, this is an exciting team. Josh Downs goes 79. Like the thing, having Kyron and Mixon at running back, we don't feel that weak at running back, even though we go running back in rounds 4 and 6. Like in theory, we shouldn't have a lot of running back points here, but I feel like we do. Let's see what Kill does. Goes Darnell Mooney. So we had a run on receivers. Thank God for us. We have Neighbors, Brian Thomas, JSN, and Travis Hunter. We will take Montgomery. I've seen Montgomery fall to the 7-8 turn a couple times now. It happened in the live stream last night, right? Baker goes. Okay, we're just going to keep clicking buttons at the top of ADP here. We'll take Pacheco. Dear God. So like, even though we wait till round 4 to take our first running back, it's going to be a 5 RB build. If we wait until the 4th round for our first running back, and we still have Kyron, Mixon, Dave Montgomery, and Isaiah Pacheco as our RB4. Gosh. And then at this point, since we only need one more running back, I mean, it would probably be good for us to see some running backs off the board. Taylor says Montgomery's been going in the 80s all day today for some reason. Obviously, y'all watch more fantasy football YouTube than I do. Has somebody been like throwing a bunch of dirt on Montgomery's name? Because like I said, I saw this happen yesterday as well in one of our drafts. SAR says he has very little Hunter. His price is too high for me. I am still underweight Hunter because if y'all go back to the streams in May, y'all remember that we were passing on Hunter at the beginning of the fourth every single time with the expectations that his ADP was going to fall and we were just going to draft Tet McMillan there instead. But at this price point, I definitely see in a large field contest like this, Hunter having the ceiling to win you the tournament. Obviously having a very low floor as well, but I think it's a completely fine price point for Hunter. Okay. But King Rube says, I don't think one channel throwing dirt on someone's actually going to... I'm just seeing if there's one channel that's making a compelling argument on why you shouldn't grab Montgomery until the 80s. Okay. Purdy goes 103. I think I know what we want. I don't want to say it until we're on the clock. Bateman goes 105. Fields off the board. We're going to take Evan Ingram here. We'll go Ingram 107. I'll just say it out loud. It's kind of obvious. We're going Ingram 107 because this will set us up with Bo Nix on the way back around. If we were to go Bo Nix and then not get Evan Ingram, I'd feel very bad about it. But here we take Evan Ingram and we don't get Bo Nix on the way back. Who cares? Yeah, Spears off. So we're going to get Bo Nix. And again, we made that mistake in a live stream, I think like 3 or 4 days ago, and y'all told me, Mason, stop being stupid. Literally just take the tight end first. And also when you take the tight end first, it does at the same time kind of block the team behind you from getting the quarterback, because then you'll look at the team at 12. They were in a spot which like Bo Nix made no sense for them, right? Like no matter what, could have made sense for them to go with Evan Ingram. Like if we take Bo Nix there at 107, has no impact on their Evan Ingram selection or not. But you go Evan Ingram at 107, this team's now in a situation where they're like, okay, I don't have Sutton. I can't take Ingram. So if I go Bo Nix, all of a sudden I'm going to have to just follow this up with like a Marvin Mims selection that we don't even know if it's going to make it to us. So Evan Ingram, Bo Nix, we need a tight end. We need a quarterback. We can still draft 3 of both position. Feel very good about this. Okay. Joe says, you open any 151 Pokemon packs? I absolutely love Pokemon. Don't get this wrong. I have a little Squirtle stuffed animal I bought from Walmart in my room right now that the girlfriend wants me to get rid of. But come on, what do you want from me? Let me have something. But I've not opened up a Pokemon card pack since I was a kid. Now, I probably never want to, because if I start going down that road, I'll start spending a lot of money I probably shouldn't. But there's this at the mall in Austin. There's this Pokemon store that has like every Pokemon stuffed animal you could ever imagine. I every time I go to the mall, I walk in. I never get anything, but I walk around and go like, oh, I would love that. 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 Okay. Quakequest says, when are we getting Pokemon Showdown streams? I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't even know what Pokemon Showdown is. Let me pull this up. Pokemon Showdown. Battle Simulator allows players to compete in Pokemon battles online and construct their own teams. Okay. Pokemon Showdown is a Pokemon battle simulator. Play Pokemon battles online. Play with randomly generated teams or build your own. It's a play online. Hopefully I don't get a virus. What the hell is this website? Battle. Find a random opponent. Do not send me freaking notifications. Battle. Username. We'll go Flock. Choose name. And no longer available. We'll go Flock Fantasy. Choose name. We got it. Battle. All right, we're in here. Ooh, crap. We're on the. You got me over your battling Pokemon. We're going to take Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence is an auto pick for us. I mean, you can make a strong argument. Mason, the team after you, has no Jags. You have both Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. They're not taking Trevor Lawrence. Don't do it. Am I that excited to take anybody else on this team? Probably not. We can just afford to mix in Trevor Lawrence. And we're still going to take 3 quarterbacks here while even having Bo Nix and Lawrence. Okay. Likely goes Jordan Love. I mean, we can go Tucker Kraft. Actually, no, Kraft's already gone. We could go Byshell Tootin as our 5th back and call it a day, which was probably what we'll do. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, we can go Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, Lontavian Wicks late, but probably not the spot. And we're just clearly all in on the Jacksonville Jaguars with this team. Something I would not have done in the past until a team won millions of dollars on Underdog by just drafting every Cincinnati Bengal. So we'll take Byshell Tootin. I want to reiterate, yes, we made the video about 5 or 6 weeks ago saying Byshell Tootin was one of the 5 worst picks in Underdog drafts. And since then, and that was back when he was going before Travis Etienne. And now Travis Etienne goes to pick 97. Byshell Tootin goes to pick 134. So I take back my statement. Well, yes, I want to reiterate that if you take Byshell Tootin before Travis Etienne, it's one of the worst 5 running back picks you can make on Underdog Fantasy. However, 35 picks after feels decent. Okay. So let's hit him with the Rock Blast. Okay, I clearly don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Actually, no, that wasn't bad. Ooh, I got him good. Okay. Hydro Pump. This is a water type Pokemon. My thing is, I don't know what any of like the new age Pokemons are like this. We'll hit him with the ice move. Raphael says someone just took ETN in the 6th round of his Best Ball Mania. Ooh. Bold ETN pick. Cedric Tillman goes 147. The big Q off the board as well. Now, we are obviously down a running back. We have Kyron, Mixon, Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco, Byshell Tootin. This will be a 3-5-7-3 build. So we're just quarterback, wide receiver, tight ends. I'm leaving the Pokemon page. I'm sorry. I don't want to get too distracted. Whoever I was supposed to be battling there, I apologize. Romeo Doubs goes 151. Thank God I did not take Jordan Love. One thing I'm not going to do, spoiler alert, I'm not freaking taking a rookie quarterback here to pair up with Malik Neighbors. Again, I will show this off to y'all, but what we can do here pretty easily is we can go Michael Penix, and then we can just take Kyle Pitts on the way back. Let me see. Does the team after us? No, we're going to make the same decision we did whenever we took Evan Ingram and then Bo Nix. I want Michael Penix. The team after us has no Falcons. London, Mooney, and Pitts are now off the board. So this team really can't take Michael Penix. But if we go Penix, then we don't get Pitts, I'm going to feel pretty bad about it. So, bam. We'll go in reverse order, and we will get our 3rd QB, and we will call it a day at quarterback. This is a great team. Here at wide receiver, Malik Neighbors Brian Thomas, JSN, Travis Hunter, and then we're going to have to take 7. Like, yeah, we take 4 early, but our 5th, we wait forever on. Running back, we have Kiran Williams, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco, Byshell Tootin. So we have some early season projectable volume here, and then obviously a rookie that may not give us much at the beginning of the year, but could be good later on. Quarterback, we have Bo Nix paired up with Evan Ingram. We have a Trevor Lawrence onslaught with Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter, plus Byshell Tootin. And we have Michael Penix paired up with Kyle Pitts. So this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And let me just show you why I have no interest in drafting Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is higher, lower, 4.5 regular games started on the Underdog Pick'ems. Even if you were to start, we have no idea if you're getting any usable weeks. So if you think like Jackson Dart is some great pick, realistically, in my opinion, you should probably just go say that he's going to start more than 4.5 games. But I wouldn't even be mixing this guy in round 18. Like, I know Bo Nix won tournaments essentially from being a round 18 pick on Underdog last year. But Bo Nix was penciled in to be the starter all year long. Very different situation now. Okay. Dan says Travis 4.5 receiving touchdowns, free money to print. Looks like there's juice to the under, right? Okay, what the hell did I just read? Sometimes I check the chat and y'all say the wildest, weirdest things. Like something that I would never be able to guess I was going to read. Let's try to decipher this together. Of course, all this is allegedly. This is somebody typing in a random YouTube chat that has no profile pic and has no username. Their username is A. It says, one chick who I went to college with at Indiana University denied Michael Pence the D. Assuming you mean Michael Penix. And he took a dump on her driveway. She probably hella salty about it now that he's making millions. I don't know if I can add any commentary to that. I don't know if I can say anything about that. My main thing I'd be asking is exactly what John's asking here. Vice President Mike Pence or Michael Penix, who we just drafted? Okay. We are just wide receiver tight end through the rest of this draft. We'll grab Alec Pierce with this selection. Do I have a strong reason for it? Nah. DeAndre Hopkins goes, I'm not going to take Dimey Brown. I feel like we don't need to go overboard with the Jags. I don't want to take a 5th Jaguar. We'll grab Zach Ertz as our 3rd tight ends. And they'll be done at tight end. We're going to take 2 wide receivers in the last 2 rounds here. Okay. Geddes says, I choose to believe this commenter. It would be... Mr. Padilla sums it up for us. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh. Owen says, gents, is college football 26 worth a buy? I would say probably, if you have time for it. I will not. And I like I say, I don't have time for it right now. Where in reality, I spent freaking 3 hours today playing Clash Royale. Of course, I have time for it. I just need to be more focused. My issue, and I think my life would be so much better if I could figure this out, and I'm sure y'all deal with the same thing, is if I could just lock in when I'm supposed to. And like, go like, this is the time I'm supposed to be working, I'm going to leave my phone in the other room. The issue is I work on my computer, so I have all my little distractions on my computer. And I'm going to avoid all distractions for the next 6 hours. And then tonight, I'll have 4 hours to play college football 26th. I probably could. But my issue is, say like today, July 8th, in theory, I shouldn't have that much work. I had one developer meeting for flogfantasy.com. I have this live stream that takes about 2 hours. I recorded a video. I did research for the video. Recording the video takes 30 minutes. The research for the video maybe takes 5 hours. So in reality, it was like an 8-hour workday. I have no commute. So in theory, I should have plenty of time to do a whole sort of activities. But during that 8 hours I'm supposed to be working, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to work for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to spend 10 minutes playing on my phone. I'm going to work for another 30 minutes. I'm going to spend another 10 minutes playing Clash Royale. And I just bleed time that way. Dylan Sampson off 201. Jalen Coker goes. I know Keenan Allen's been a big time faller. I'll take Keenan still. Yeah, we'll go Keenan, and then I know a lot of people like Ray McLeod mixing him in with Michael Penix. And honestly, F it, let's do it. I mean, we don't have a super strong stack with Michael Penix and just Kyle Pitts. Richardson goes 204. Yeah, we'll mix in Ray McLeod. So here's the squad. I like it. Obviously, we need Travis Hunter to be a wide receiver if this is going to have any shot to win $2 million. But we have Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, JSN, Travis Hunter at wide receiver. So we have the absolute cream of the crop at the very top, holding down the fort. Then, of course, it's best ball, so we have to mix in some bums down below. We also have Alec Pierce, Keenan Allen, and Ray McLeod. Now, going over to running back, we have Kiran Williams, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco, Byshell Tootin. I like the running back room. Quarterback, we have Bo Nix stacked with Evan Ingram. We have Lawrence double stacked with both Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. We also have Byshell Tootin on the squad. And we have Michael Penix double stacked with Kyle Pitts and Ray McLeod. So, I like it. Now let's move over. We're getting into another BBM draft. Hopefully this time we don't have to go up against Coca-Cola Vinny, or we don't have to go up against RC Cola Vinny. Okay. Jake says, I know how you feel. I'm watching a fantasy football live stream instead of getting ready for bed. Here's a hack for everyone. That my brain needs to always be on, and I always need to be watching. I don't need to be watching something. And obviously, it makes no difference whatsoever to how much money I would or would not make if you have YouTube Premium versus if you watch ads. But YouTube Premium is one of the best things I have ever gotten. Specifically because, like, instead of watching a live stream or watching a video, 99% of stuff that I watch/listen to is just the audio is valuable. You can like close it out on your phone and the audio still keeps playing. So if you don't have YouTube Premium, I'd highly recommend it. I'd also highly recommend trying to download a blocker so you don't have to draft against Kale in every single one of these drafts. I like how we can now highlight a column. Is this new on Underdog, or did I always have the ability of this? I think this may be new with the update. Yeah, I can highlight a column here, which is interesting. Yeah, but like YouTube Premium, and of course I don't want to say this out loud. I don't want the YouTube gods to listen in on this. I'll take Bijan. It may be like $20 a month. If they raised, I watch so much YouTube, and by watch YouTube, I mean I mainly just listen to it. But still, I always have a YouTube video going or a YouTube live stream going. if they raised YouTube Premium to $80 a month, $90 a month, $100 a month, I would probably pay for it. C Money says it's only $9.99. I have no idea how much I'm paying for it right now. Reed says it's $15 if you don't go through Apple. Lazel Shoe says every month it's the best $20 a month. Yeah, I have no idea how much it is. But all I know is they could increase the price by at least 5x and I'd keep paying for it. I'd get annoyed. Like if they in my life, it's so much of a necessity that I don't know if it's $5. I don't know if it's $10. I don't know if it's $15. I don't know if it's $20 because it's at least $80 of value to me at the very minimum. Big CEO says, well, YouTube TV is basically $85 a month. I don't have YouTube TV. But again, the only thing I really watch is YouTube. And I checked, I got an email saying because I have YouTube Premium, like there's some offer with Red Zone this year. And I think it's supposed to be cheaper. I almost bought it. But I'm going to full transparency. I don't know if I should, but I'm going to tax deduct Red Zone. Come on, I need it for the job, of course. And it was like, however much it was, I was like, I need to pay people. I don't want to take this money out of my business account yet. So I was like, going to wait a couple weeks before I bought Red Zone. At least I think I did. So I needed the money in the account before I bought it. Let me see if I can find like that. Red Zone offer that they sent me. This was pretty good if I remember. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it right now. But I'm definitely going to pay for that as well. Like YouTube is something I pay for a lot. And again, I have no monetary incentive one way or another to try to get you to sign up to YouTube Premium. I wish I did. I wish I had like a little promo code. So that'd be something I'd stand hard. Bowers goes. I'd freaking love Bowers with this team. Okay. We're to be boring and we're going to take T. Higgins at 22. Y'all know I already have a ridiculous amount of Tyreek Hill. And we were drafting him in round 3. Maybe it seems a little bit tougher for me to start taking Tyreek in round 2. Jesse says, hot take, Red Zone is trash Sunday ticket. I mean, Red Zone Sunday ticket, I'm calling it the same thing, regardless of what it is. Lee says, being able to stream with your phone closed is a game changer, I meant. Yeah, so I used to, back in the day, listen to podcasts nonstop. Like, why I started making stuff on YouTube is I would just, like, in college, walk around with headphones on. And Trey McBride goes. Who are we going to go with? I'm not a big Harrison guy. I guess you could, if you're ever going to take Harrison, makes sense to do so here where you have Higgins, so you have the week 17 bring back. We also presumably box out both the Trey McBride and the Jamar Chase team, so it should be easy for us to get either Burrow and or Kyler at a discount. We go with the anchor running back in round 1, so let's go Harrison. I'm not a super big Marvin Harrison guy, like I said, but if we're ever going to take him, it probably makes sense to do so on this build. But yeah, so I used to walk around with like headphones on freshman year. I went to the University of Texas. So it's a college that's downtown. I didn't have my car. You don't need a car. You can just walk everywhere. So I just walk around campus, listening to podcasts. And I'd probably listen to realistically 6 to 7 Dynasty Fantasy Football podcasts a day. And they were all through like Apple. They're all through like Apple Podcasts, whatever the normal thing was at the time. And of course, I didn't make any content. I had no freaking idea. Apple Podcasts doesn't tell you how many people are watching or listening. So I probably assumed that like a lot of people are watching. There were probably a lot of podcasts where I was one of like 3 or 4 listeners listening to them, right? But long story short, I used to spend all my freaking time, like entertainment wise, listening to like podcasts on Apple. Now I never do. I probably haven't opened up the Apple Podcast app in 3, 4, 5 years. God knows how long. Because everything I do is through YouTube. Like, why I would never listen to like a podcast through Apple now that I have YouTube Premium, because the YouTube app is so smooth and so seamless that if I'm listening to like a podcast and then they reference something that's like on the screen or they're talking about, I can just quickly open up YouTube and it immediately shows it to me and then close it back down where I don't want to see it anymore. So again, I could not stand YouTube Premium harder than I do. But super interesting to see JSN and Davante Adams both make it down to round 4 in this draft. Very rarely are you going to see that. Very rarely. DK Metcalf goes 40. And let me know if y'all listen to like, and this is something I've talked to with like some industry people whenever I've met them. Cause like the old school fantasy football thing was everybody, to my understanding, keep in mind, I have a very limited little scope of the only thing of only what I've experienced. But I mean, I used to watch and listen to fantasy football stuff 24/7. So I feel like I've seen it as like a consumer. Now I've seen it as like a producer. So I feel like I probably am one of the better people to have a gauge on the industry. Definitely not the best. We will take Devonta Smith. And this one, I like Devonta Smith in this range in general. And 2, this gives us the ability to go Jalen Hurts. Now, if we whiff on Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. At the end of the day, we have the Burrow potential pairing. We have the Kyler potential pairing. We're going to make something work regardless. But I do like Jalen Hurts in round 5. I like him a hell of a lot more if we have Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown to pair with him. So let's see. Sutton goes 47. Pickens goes 48. Good for us to see the wide receivers go immediately after. It makes me feel better about the Devonta Smith pick. All right, let's see what these teams do. This is a very interesting dynamic. That team goes Waddle, so we're going to get James Cook or Jalen Hurts, and I'm completely fine with either or. I'm happy about getting either or. James Cook goes at 50, so we will take Jalen Hurts. And full transparency, taking a quarterback in round 5 will not stop me from taking a quarterback at pick 70 or pick 94. Now, obviously, if I take a quarterback in round 6 and in round 5, I'm done drafting quarterbacks. But we may run it. I mean, I'm never going to draft a quarterback in round. I'm not going to draft like Allen, Lamar, and then Jalen Hurts, or Allen, Lamar, and then Burrow. But I think Jalen Hurts and Burrow is completely fine. I've done a couple $500 drafts. But anyway, going back to like me rambling. So like I used to listen to fantasy football podcasts all day. And like the industry back in the day used to be, you would set up a Twitter account. You would set up like a podcast on iTunes or Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever people would host podcasts. I listen to all my podcasts through iTunes. And then people would go on like each other's podcast, and it would just be people doing like a podcast circuit. You would be in like Twitter group chats, and you'd be trying to say like, hey, tweet out my podcast or share my podcast. And the only real way to grow was like by going on somebody else's podcast and telling their listeners, hey, come listen to me. And then getting people to like retweet stuff on Twitter. But now I mean, I can see just based off numbers that Twitter's like done of relevance for fantasy football. Like, obviously, there's still people on it. I'm still on it. I probably spent too much time on it, to be honest. But like the only person I've ever seen like build a business over the past few years on Twitter, I mean, off of Twitter, is Sal. But he has so many other things going that's not his only thing. You know, that's just one of the 10 things in his empire. But, and I don't know. Like if I ever see anybody like tweeting out links or tweeting out like, hey, go check this out. I never see anybody ever saying, hey, go check out my podcast. It's always go check out my YouTube channel. So let me know, do y'all listen to like fantasy football podcasts like on iTunes or Spotify? Or is it mainly just YouTube? Okay. Let's move this over. Joe Burrow goes at 65 unstacked. So seeing an unstacked Burrow at 65 definitely makes me feel better about our Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith pairing at the 4 or 5 turn, which I'm going to feel good about that pairing regardless. Big Dogs. Oh, appreciate it, my friend. YouTube, Spotify. Okay. We got some people that still do podcast. Nolan says, oh, for sure, definitely going to be biased with everybody on YouTube right now. But I was just interested if there are going to be a bunch of people in here that also still listen to stuff on podcast. Because like with the podcast stuff, it's impossible to know the relevance of it or the scope of it just because all the numbers are hidden. We'll take Godwin as our wide receiver 4. Clearly you have injury concerns, but at the end of the day, we are hunting upside in weeks 15, 16, 17 for Best Ball Mania, where I do think Godwin has a massive ceiling there in comparison to the other players going in this range. Debo goes 72. Because like even, I know we're going back to randomness, but come on, it's July 8th. I'm allowed to talk about whatever here. But like even for me, like I don't really listen to many podcasts anymore. Like whenever I say I'm listening to YouTube videos and stuff, usually it will be like, it will always have a video component to it. Like there are very few like audio only things that I'll consume now. Caleb Johnson goes, we can go with projectable volume with Swift. We can go with Laporta. We can go with the upside tight end. We probably should have been looking at what will be around to us. I think I'm going to mix in Matthew Golden. We are going to lean on Bijan here. Let's take Matthew Golden as our 5th receiver. Hopefully allowing ourselves to take some values at the 8-9 turn. And what should be nice here is we have Harrison. So we've set ourselves up in a spot where we can look at Kyler later. And the Trey McBride team is on the other side of us. So we are going to get the first option to take Kyler Murray over them. Big Dog says, I listen to you through diffusion into my Neuralink. Antonio says just fantasy footballers on Spotify sometimes. I really do wonder, like, how many people do the fantasy footballers have listened to them on podcast platforms? It must just be an insane amount. Like, I can't even begin to guess. Okay, Darnell Mooney goes 83. Okay, just says, do you ever give any tips with auction style drafts? The difficulty with like making a video or live stream for auctions is realistically every auction is so different and they are so dynamic while you are there. Like even if I knew your exact league settings going into the auction, the way that the auction will play out is almost impossible for me to predict. In comparison to like a draft, well, every draft's going to be slightly different. They're also all going to be kind of similar. Where we all know Bijan Robinson's going to go in round 1 of your fantasy football draft. We all know Barkley's going in round 1. Like, we have an idea of what the pocket ranges should be. So it's very difficult for me to give auction advice when there are so many moving variables that I just have no idea what to expect. Kale takes Pollard. I would have taken Pollard if he would make it to us. But now that he is not, we are probably just going to be taking Kyler Murray. I'd be surprised if this team takes Kyler. If they do, I'll go Michael Pittman Jr. They go Pittman. We will take Kyler as our second quarterback, pair him up with Jalen Hurts, pair him up with Marvin Harrison, and we are going to be done at QB. We'll just be running back, wide receiver, and tight ends. Savage, welcome to being a mother flocker. I appreciate you, my friend. Jalen Warren goes 96. So there's always the interesting dynamic. I know I've talked about this before, but y'all know we do those $500 underdog drafts. And one $500 draft obviously equals 25 $4 drafts, $25 drafts. So if I pass on a singular player in 50 regular drafts, but then I take him in a $500 draft, he may be one of my most invested into players from a dollar perspective, while ownership percentage is incredibly low. Jordan Mason's that guy this year, where Jordan Mason, for whatever reason, every time I've taken him, it's been in a $500 draft. Like, from a dollars perspective, let me just pull this up right now. He may be like my second most invested into running back, despite me only drafting him like 3% of the time. So in theory, it's like, depending on how you cut it, I'm either way overweight Jordan Mason or way underweight Jordan Mason. So realistically, pulling the exact numbers up, from a dollar spent perspective, CMC's my most invested into running back. But I have Jordan Mason as my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most invested into RB, even though I've only drafted him in 3.8% of drafts. So, like, in theory, I'm underweight on him with only 3.8% of drafts. But from a bankroll perspective, I'm rooting for him this year just because I've taken him in the leagues where it actually matters. Okay. Rashad Bateman goes 1-9. Interesting that team goes there with the Andrews Bateman turn, but that's not the Lamar team. The Lamar team opted to go Harris instead. So it would be great for us to see more quarterbacks off the board. Red Slingo guys. What's up, Mason? Just joined the Discord. Cool community, man. Happy to have you, my friend. Ben says, Vikings had almost no rushing touchdowns last year. Bound to get better. Yeah, they made significant improvements into the offensive line. But again, the question is, how much of that goes to Jordan Mason? How much of it goes to Aaron Jones? Justin Herbert goes 115. I think we'll see what happens, but we're not going to go quarterback. Cat's out of the bag on that, right? We have Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. So for us, it'd be good to see the Lamb team take Dak, which they do. We'll take Cam Scatterboo. I'm underweight Scatterboo. I'm overweight Tracy, but my stance on it all along is I'll just take the cheaper name. And Tracy used to be the cheap name. Now it's Scatterboo. So we'll flip and we'll balance out our exposures. Because Scatterboo, in theory, could have the goal line role and the receiving role. Could have every high value touch in that backfield. David Njoku goes 120. That's who we wanted on the way back around. So it looks like we're probably going to grab a running back. Ross Kretz says, have you watched quarterback yet? I honestly probably won't watch quarterback. I'll watch Hard Knocks. But team goes Christian Kirk. Like, for me, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be watching. Like, I'm not going to enjoy quarterback that much with it being last year's season. And we'll take Charbonnet here at 123. So, overall, I like the team. Running back, we have Bijan, Jordan Mason, Cam Scatterbo, Zach Charbonnet. Quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts stacked with Devonta Smith. We have Kyler Murray stacked with Marvin Harrison. Wide receiver, we have T. Higgins, Marvin Harrison, Devonta Smith, Chris Godwin, and Matthew Golden. So, I like the past two teams we drafted. The first draft was maybe a little bit rough. Didn't love that one. But the past two have felt great. And we're probably only going to be drafting a total of 5 running backs with this. You'll be surprised if we take more than that. Okay. And also, if you have not done so already, I would appreciate it if you go down there and hit that like button. It's free. Just kidding. It does charge your credit card $4.99 every time you do it. But go down there, spam it. Let's get 1,000 likes. Let's charge a credit card $4.99 a like. And let's bring in a cool 5K. The issue with me saying stuff like that is, I mean, it's so obviously a joke for 99% of the people watching it. But there's always 1% or 0.1%, right? And you get to a point where if like 10,000 people see this live stream, 0.1% of people taking that seriously. So it'd be like 100 people going like, oh, he's telling us to pay him $5,000. Rashad White goes 135. If we take another running back here, we can definitely chill at 5. We're probably going to be done at 5. Red Slingo guy coming out. Welcome to being a motherfucker. That actually does cost money. That costs $2.99, but I appreciate you, my friend. Dallas Goddard goes. So Jordan Love, in theory, is a great value at 142, especially when we have Matthew Golden. But when we have Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray, we can't take a third. It frankly doesn't matter. Tight end should be in play for us. Wide receiver and running back both are as well. Y'all probably know who I want, and we'll see if we get them. Okay. Cade goes 140. I think we're going to get him. Oh my gosh, of course we don't. Never mind. I thought we were getting the big Q. Instead, we will get Trey Benson and we'll call it a day at running back. Raphael says, Mason, I'm not getting ads on your videos. I think you've gotten demonized this year talking about my girlfriend. Okay, well. I haven't gotten demonized. I'll tell you. Your girlfriend gets demonized when she's with me, but that's all I got to say about that, my friend. Tua off the board at 144, and we're done at running back, right? So we're just wide receiver, tight ends. I was preferring the big Q there, of course, but it is what it is. And we'll probably go with Ferguson. We'll take Jake Ferguson here as our first tight end, sniping the team that has Dak and Lamb. Ferguson a little less appealing with Pickens in town just because there are different ways they can distribute the targets here, but it should be fine. Sir Bob says, my girl only likes dudes that win Basketball Mania. Why do you think I'm trying so damn hard to win this tournament, my friend? What do you think my motivation is here? Okay. Ben says, Mason, how do you feel about your girlfriend flirting up with Tom Brady? All right, we already talked about this realistically. And it's embarrassing that you brought this up. Like, I understand. Yes, my girlfriend Sydney was hanging out with Tom Brady. I get it. We are at Jeff's wedding. Okay. And I was sitting there. We were eating. She was talking my ear off as usual. I was going, dear God, can I get a single second to think? And then I saw Tom and he came over to talk to me. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with this guy. And I asked her to do me a favor. And I went, hey, can you go talk to Tom for me? Honestly, while you're talking to him, can you ask him if he wants to be in the flock league this year? That'd be a big help. So, yeah. Sydney went over. She talked to Tom for a bit. Pictures were taken. It is what it is. Okay. Let's see. Britton Strange off the board at 160. Pat Bryant goes. Quarterbacks are... Okay, this is just crazy. We're going to take Demario Douglas over Adam Thielen. Red Slingo guy says, Sydney is mid. Don't at me. Okay, I'm going to embarrass you on this stream. Do I even need to do this? You are saying Sydney Sweeney is mid? Have lost the script, my friend. You need to get off YouTube. You need to go touch some grass. I can't even imagine saying something like that. I feel bad even bringing that up. We will take Gesicki here. We're built around Kyler Harrison, Higgins. So I know some people like that week 17 game. In reality, also having Higgins and Gesicki, if we were to get an injury to Chase, if Chase misses any time, we should see the expected target share for both players to rise dramatically. Like any week that Chase misses, like I would rank Higgins as a borderline top 5 wide receiver in our weekly rankings. Jake says, what pick are you taking Sweeney with, Mason? Easily 101. Red Slingo guy says, you've seen her recent. Okay, my friend, you got to stop. You got to stop this. $20.25. Okay, this is the recent. Okay, Red Slingo guy. Give me somebody who isn't mid for us to pull up on this live stream right now. Give me someone who is not mid. Royal, this is funny. Mason, would you last longer with Sydney or in a cage with the tiger? I am 100% honest when I say this. I'm not trying to be funny. It's the tiger easily. Not even remotely close. Okay. Red Slingo guy says Zendaya. Okay. Not going to argue against it. Who else you got for us? DJ Giddens off the board. We are just going to be taking another wide receiver and another tight ends. Alexander says Daisy Ridley. I don't know who this is. Let's pull this up. Daisy Ridley. Oh, is this the Star Wars girl? Okay. We're going to take Darius Slayton over Mason Taylor as our 7th receiver. I mean, our wide receivers are pretty strong. Obviously, we don't go wide receiver round 1, but we play catch-up effectively with Higgins, Harrison, Devonta Smith, wide receiver 3, Godwin, wide receiver 4, Golden, wide receiver 5, Douglas 6, Darius Slayton 7. Can we build out? Yeah, we can draft 8 receivers with this team. Yeah, it's going to be, if this team gets 8 wide receivers, this is a good wide receiver team. Jay Guy says baddie draft guide win. That's what we need. That's what we need. That's how this channel starts getting. If y'all want us to get to 1 million subscribers, that's the direction we pivot in. We'll take Mason Taylor as our 3rd tight end. We have a couple old boring tight ends with Ferguson and Gesicki. Might as well mix in somebody with some youth and excitement. Even if it's a low volume passing attack, there are just no weapons here whatsoever. Let me see who else y'all got for me. Natalie Portman in Star Wars. Yes, I sign off on this. Good call. Good call. I actually had an ex back in the day that dressed up as this for Halloween. Yes, I will include, how about this? Use code FLOCK on Underdog. Not only will you get the 2025 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, rankings, cheat sheet, etc., etc., but you also get the baddie guide. Vinny says, you know what I hate most about the new UI? I can't use the slider to scroll between the various drafts, only the left, right page up top. So lame. If I were you, if you have any real complaints like that, like as somebody, I can't speak for Underdog, and Underdog's 10,000 times more professional of a company, and I'm sure that they have, like we have 3 developers for flockfantasy.com. I'm sure Underdog has 300 developers, right? Probably more than that. But from my little experience, like working with the software and like the team and like users and stuff, that type of feedback is extremely valuable. So like when people send us stuff like that for the site, I'm like, oh, that's great. So if you have any feedback like that for Underdog, I would legitimately hit up their support and let them know. And there's a really good shot that they fix it for you. At least I know that's how it is on our site. And if enough people have that complaint, like, cause the thing is, like when the devs are working on it, on like the devs on our site work on a bunch of things where they have no idea, like, hey, a user may use it this way, you know, like they'll go through and they'll do all the testing and they can guess every way that they think somebody's going to use it. But they very easily can overlook something. So we're going to take Tolbert, pair him up with Ferg. So I would reach out if you have anything like that, feedback, especially for our site too, flockfantasy.com. If you have anything ever that like, oh, this setup would be much better, or this would improve it in this way, please hit me up. Anything you got. But I appreciate you. I told the lady we would watch a movie tonight. It's probably a little too late for that. But what I can do is I can, I don't know, I can start working on the baddie power rankings list stream. I'll get that going. But appreciate you. Really hope I get to see you with the live stream tomorrow night. I'll for sure be live tomorrow. I'll for sure be live the next day. And I think I go to Florida on Friday. I'm going to bring my laptop. I'm going to bring the camera, bring the microphone, bring it all. And for sure try to live stream. I can't guarantee I'll be live every single day this weekend. If the fam and I go and do something, maybe I'll miss a day. But I'll try to make every day. And really hope you'll be there. Thank you for hanging out with me this fine Tuesday night. And I hope we get to see you